Hey, welcome to the Relentless Positivity Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Martin. Got a special St. Patrick's Day edition of the show today. So I'm going to be doing a dramatic reading from my book right here. Don't worry, it's short chapters and small words. I'll be able to handle it. So don't you worry about me. First, let's talk about some sponsors here on St. Patrick's Day. Um, Shirts. Don't be having boring shirts anymore. Don't be doing that. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to Apparel Lab and get some good shirts. What you need, try blend shirts. Remember that phrase, try blend. It will change your life. There's no going back. So if you want to get some shirts made, you go there, you get 10% off your first order. Just use promo code Relentless. You're going to email them at theapparellab@gmail.com, TheApparellab at Gmail. Get your shirts from there. And remember that try blend. It'll change your life. All right. How about when you're in the city of Huntsville and you don't know where to go? What if you wanted to explore your city called Huntsville? Where would you go? Explorehuntsville.com/Joe. That's where you go. You download this app. It's going to tell you wherever you want to go, how to get there, what you want to do. What if you don't know what you want to do? It'll tell you what to do. Don't you need people like that in your life? And this is a collaboration between Rocket City Mom. They're famous for being awesome, as well as the Huntsville Madison County Visitors Bureau. They're also famous for being awesome. So this is a collaboration. This is like when peanut butter first met jelly. Great time. So get the app. It's absolutely free unless you don't go to the link I just told you about, explorehuntsville.com/Joe. $4,000 if you don't go, free if you go through that link. Pick that up and go explore your city. It's pretty awesome. A lot of stuff going on there you might not even know about. So pick that up. All right. So we're going to get into it today. So I'm reading from my book right here, Relentless Positivity, available on Amazon. Another plug. No, you got here for the plugs. This will be chapter 4. And it's about the time I got the Man Mange. Are you familiar with the Man Mange? We'll get into that. So here goes my dramatic reading. So I moved to Ireland when I was 21 years old to work in a pub for the summer. The last 2 weeks I was there, my older brother Tony came over and we traveled along the coast together. Our only guide was one of those Fodor's travel books. Kids don't even know the struggle today. Do you remember those books? They had another one too, forgot the name of it. Should have looked that up for the show. But anyway, it's a little books and you had to find out, phone numbers. You had to call people. No websites, not a website to be found. And then you'd get there, a lot of places be closed, out of business, all this crazy times. But we use that as our guide. Just a few highlights that aren't in the book over here, just some things that happened while I was over there. So I have a scar on my chin right here from a worm demonstration gone bad. I went down. I can usually pull off the worm, but Guinness had me messing me up that night, I guess. I went down, the arms, no support. Boom, busted my chin all over the dance floor. Very impressive. Very impressive. So I got a scar on my chin from there. I lived with an Irish girl, a Swedish girl, and a French Canadian girl. It sounds awesome. It just meant I couldn't get in the bathroom. I didn't like it. And the shower head right in my chest. I got my squats in while there. So something I learned pretty quick the hard way is when people are looking for crack, it means they're looking for a good time over there. So CRAIC, not the crack. When someone asks for they're looking crack over here, different things. I learned that the hard way. Scottish people, 2 things I learned about them. One, very hard to understand. So I was bartending one day and a Scottish rugby team came in and their representative, well, maybe it was because he had no teeth. He's a rugby player. He may have had 2 or 3, but they're not very prominent ones. And he came up there. He ordered for like 5 minutes. I think there was food, there was drinks in there. I didn't understand. It was English, but not in English. I got nothing. I had to go get a translator, bring in a native to translate. He was just looking at me, shaking me. I was like, "Why can't you understand?" If you had teeth, maybe, but I got nothing. If you've seen some of those Scottish shows that they have to put subtitles on them, you don't know what I'm talking about. The second thing I learned about them pretty quick, they like to headbutt to start the fight. So that's pretty quick. Your head's right there. So they flattened this guy's nose, one of the bouncers at the place I worked at. So just a few other highlights. We'll get back into the book, but I wanted to share those with you right there. So in the beginning of our travels, we visited the city of Killarney and we stayed in a hostel. I ended up getting what in Ireland is called the dreaded scabies from a suspect bed. This was a pretty dirty hostel because that's what we could afford. So we were staying there, got the scabies. So in dogs, it is called the mange. In humans, it's called scabies. Oh, by the way, let me do something real quick. I got a picture of this for you. This is not me, by the way, but this is what scabies looks like. All right, in case you're watching the video of it. So look how gross that is. That is not a picture of my skin. Mine wasn't quite that bad. It's on the inside of my arms and kind of around my waistline. But look at what that thing looks like. That was underneath my skin. So I could feel the things moving in there and it itched like crazy. Stupid thing. All right, that grossed me out. I couldn't look at that anymore. So back to the book. So I spent my travels being very itchy for several hours a day. The highlight of each new place we stayed was getting in the shower and burning my skin with the hottest water I could find. Take that, mites. So I get in there, man, they things be moving during the day. Oh, it's like, I burn them. Apparently you're not supposed to do that. It makes it worse, but it felt so good at the time. So I do that. That was the highlight of my wonderful days. So I suffered through the last few days of the trip, and then the flight home was especially miserable. When I got back, I finally decided I had to do something about it. And I was like, how long is it going to take to get rid of this thing? Is there surgery involved? Is there shots, pills? Would they just put me down? Is that what they do with dogs? I don't know. The answer, it was a simple ointment. That was it. So a simple ointment, that's all it took. And it was all gone in one day. I'd avoided going to the doctor in Ireland because I was so embarrassed. I was like, man, standing these dirty places, it's pretty embarrassing. And I didn't think I didn't think I could afford it either. I was pretty broke the whole time I was there. And I was kicking myself for all the unnecessary suffering I put myself through. So what are you putting off because you're embarrassed? Let me ask you that. Have you avoided exercise because you are so out of shape? There's no shame in that. It's one of the most common reasons people don't come to my class is why they don't go to the gym. So they think that they'll be the worst one at the gym. They worry no one will be more out of shape or overweight or as old as they are. So they continue to suffer silently and don't do anything about the pain of being overweight and out of shape. So there's no need to feel embarrassed. I mean, it can't be as embarrassing as having the man mange, right? So everybody has to start somewhere, and you're welcome wherever you are, no matter what shape you're in. If they don't make you feel, you're at the wrong place. So I know at my classes, you would be welcome, open arms, 6 feet apart, so all that though. So imagine how much better my trip would have been if I hadn't been embarrassed and just gone to see a doctor when I first started itching. I'm sure it would not have been the first case of scabies he'd seen, especially if he was around the dirty hostel place. So if you're not ready for the gym or an exercise class, hey, it's absolutely fine. I get it. So there are always other ways to get started. You could do online fitness classes from the safety of your living room. You could go for a walk, a swim, ride a bike, or even hire a personal trainer to work with you one-on-one if you don't have to want to be out in public. You don't need to get in shape before you start an exercise class or program. You don't need any fancy clothes. You don't need special powers, anything like that. All you need to do is start. That's one of the chapters there, just short little chapters. So just touching my shirt right here, a little fancy shirt. I don't know if you can see that. It's sponsored by Guinness. It's the Oliver St. John Go-Gerties is a place I worked. I'm gonna show you a picture of that because I'm getting fancy. See, that's what happens when you get sponsors. The production value of the show just shot through the roof. So I worked at this place. It's Oliver St. John Go-Gerties. They had 3 parts to it. So they had a traditional Irish pub where you go in there, kind of the older people hang out, and then kind of a newer phase pub, a little bit of younger people, and then they had the club part. That's mainly where I worked, picking up pint glasses, bouncing, bartending, whatever they need me to do, stacking kegs. But this was in a crazy part of town. It's in the Temple Bar area, which is kind of like their version of the French Quarter. So it got pretty crazy down there. So I'll just tell you one story quick about that, and then we'll move on to something else. So I was in the bottom half, switching out kegs and all that. Is crazy room in there, by the way. So what they do, there's also a trap door. So I worked in the basement. Let me switch screens. Yeah, right. So I worked in the basement. Part of my job was shoving up cases of Red Bull or seltzer water, whatever it was, ciders, anything like that. So cases that they had a little trap door where the bar was up here. I was down low, of course, out of sight, out of the public's eye. And somebody up there, not down here, I couldn't reach it. Somebody left a trap door open. So I'm down there stacking my kegs, doing my thing. And all I hear is someone go, ah, boom. Someone fell from the bar. She was tending bar and just doing her thing, not paying attention, fell right down like 10 feet. She was okay. She's from Chicago. She's tough. Anyway, just all kind of crazy adventures. I wanted to share with you those. And also, I want to do you a little education piece today. How about that? Pictures, education, all. So Patty, not Patty. Those sound the same, right? So it's P-A-D-D-Y, not P-A-T-T-Y. When you say Happy St. Patty's Day, you should be saying it with a D, or especially if you're writing it. But let me tell you about that. So Marcus Campbell, this guy, he started this website, Patty, not Patty, P-A-D-D-Y, it's the first one. To help set the record straight, because people using P-A-T-T-Y for him was like nails on a chalkboard. So this is his quote right here. Paddy is derived from the Irish padre. You got to see the spelling of padre, by the way. P-A-D-R-A-I-G, spelled that way, but it sounds like padre. Padre Pierce from your Irish history, if you're up on that. Anyway, back to that. From the name Padre, hence those mysterious emerald double D's, Campbell writes on his website. Patty is a diminutive of Patricia or a burger. Nobody wants to be called that. And just not something you call a fella in Ireland. There's not a sinner in Ireland that would call a Patrick Patty. So there you go. That's a little education piece here on St. Patrick's Day. And the last thing we're going to do, hilarious dad joke. So do you know why you never iron a 4-leaf clover? You don't want to press your luck. Hilarious. Hope you have a great St. Patrick's Day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Keep the positivity rolling. Have a great day.